Alright, so the PTR was announced for patch 1.32.6 and there's quite a few balance changes in there, so let's have a look and see exactly what's written and what they're talking about. So they start with a few points about having different goals in mind for heroes in general. They're looking at cost and sometimes the functionality of heroes' ultimate abilities. I think we know pretty much which one they were talking about from the get-go when they started writing about this. A lot of people have like some of the same heroes in mind. Items are another big area of this patch. I'm very happy actually that they bring this up because there was an item patch earlier where they changed, like, you know, Lightning Shield was changed, then it was nerfed, then Sentry Words. We had rings giving a little bit more armor on the early levels to make them better, but they're still pretty shit. So I kind of like that they focused again on items. And honestly, even though this is not the dream patch for everybody, and it's only PTR, we don't even know what's going to go through, there's still a lot of stuff that I liked in there that they addressed. So let's go point by point. I like that they say that they want to support mapmakers' future endeavors by doing a balance pass on the units provided by mercenary camps. That's going to help a lot of the mapmakers have more freedom to make some adjustments themselves. We want to address rifle pushes in human versus night elf and slightly after the early game in human versus undead. This is a little bit scary as a human player to hear about something like this, because even though humans doing somewhat well against elf, against top-end elves, you're still losing like 50 peasants per game to Fan of Knives and stuff, so if we can't really push anymore... I mean, I wasn't really doing much push, but I worry that this change in a game where I'm getting a lot of rifles, and I mean, I am the rifle king after all, is going to affect me greatly, so... I mean, we'll go in detail more on each of the changes, so... These are not super relevant. Thunderclap is, I think, top 3 most broken spells with currently War Stomp and Carrion Swarm, and it's gonna be lowered the cooldown 6 to 7 seconds. Honestly, it feels like it's not that big a change. 6 to 7 seconds, like, it's just 1 second difference, and it's not like we went from... I mean, to be honest, yeah, I guess if it was like a 2 seconds cooldown and we went to 3, then it would feel like it's a lot more. But 6 to 7, yeah, it's just... It's so-so. I don't think it makes the spell that much worse, to be honest. Like, I think if you're gonna change Thunderclap, you should have maybe capped the amount of units that it hits. If you're gonna change the cooldown, it definitely should be at more than 1 second only. Yeah, so you could change the actual damage, the amount of units that it hits. If you're gonna change the cooldown, 1 second, I'm not sure it's gonna be enough to really make it, like, scale it down a bunch. Rifleman attack delay increased from 1.35 to 1.4. So they will attack a little slower now. That's scary because Rifleman... Remember when there was a big patch that nerfed a lot of the human units? That was one of the few units that actually got buffed. It's technically one of our best units that we see across multiple matchups. So if you're gonna weaken that one now, we're better be hoping that some of our other units are gonna be buffed. But if you look at least human, it's only Mountain King nerf, Rifleman nerf, and then a Paladin, which is getting ultimates buff basically because it's slightly less mana. So yeah. The note says this change focus around the human versus night elf rifleman push. We don't inherently want the rifle push to completely disappear, nor the rifleman to fall too far in power, but we rather for the push to be slightly more equal between the attacker and defender. We are adjusting the power on both sides, with this being the human side of the change. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this one. This makes me a little bit worried. I don't even do rifle pushes against elf, to be honest, almost ever. I'm a creeper or a macro, so yeah, bit worried about getting one of our best unit, if not the best, really, the most versatile, and all that's nerfed like this. Paladin, resurrection mana cost reduced from 200 to 150. I mean, 200 is fucking ridiculous. It should have been 150 in the first place. Resurrection already has the restriction of waiting for a player's army to be dead before being cast. Well, I mean, that happens every game when you're human anyway, so we already had that, you know. At the same time, Paladins often spend much of their mana casting Holy Light to keep units alive in the first place. Reducing the mana cost should help boost the desirability of this ultimate by reducing mana tension. I like that, I think, to be honest. It's a good change, but it's not something super crazy, something super key, you know. Orc, Shadowhunter, Big Bad Voodoo, Mana Cost reduced from 200 to 150. I mean, why not? We don't really ever see this anyway. But yeah, like these... Do you even go Big Bad Voodoo on level 6? I mean, usually the game is over by then, but I don't even know if I would really rank that as one of the key ultimates in the game. At least up to this point. We see so many Tauren Chieftain anyway nowadays that Shadowhunters completely fell off meta for the most part, unless certain cases. Farseer Earthquake duration reduced from 25 to 20 seconds, building damage per second increased from 50 to 60. Mana cost reduced from 150 to 125. Earthquake no longer affects friendly unit structure. I don't know if that it should have in the first place. I mean, it's okay, like they're trying to make Earthquake like a little bit more used and a little bit more viable. I don't think this was really something that somebody was like, oh, I really hope Earthquake gets a buff in the next patch. No. And if you're that guy, then you probably live in a forest somewhere and like you're living off the grid. I don't even know how you have internet. Like nobody cares, bro, about Earthquake. Tauren Chieftain, that's the one that everybody was looking forward to. Warstorm cooldown increased per level from 666 to 777. So 7 seconds across all levels instead of 6 seconds. Remember that Warstomp level 3 was a 5 seconds cooldown for a 6 seconds, 5 second stomp for a 6 seconds cooldown. So you only have 1 second to catch your breath before the big cow dunks your head in the toilet again and drowns you. So it's honestly with this change, it actually feels like I'm like, okay, well, 1 more second, you know, that's something. But at the same time, I'm like, it's not enough. It's like Thunderclap. I think this spell is like just way too good, so it needed more than that, you know? Maybe less damage, maybe less AoE or something. Thank you guys, by the way, who are completing the tutorial. I see 2 of you. 3 Stuken and Blackadder as well. Thank you guys. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I think this is not enough. Incoming. I really don't think this is enough. But we'll see. Like, we'll have to test it and see. It might not even go through like this. They might do more. I guess PTR is a good way to judge what everybody thinks about everything, and then if they see that people are saying, okay, this is not enough, maybe they might do more. Witch Doctor, Stasis Trap activation delay decreased from 10 to 9 seconds. Literally nobody cares. Detection radius reduced from 250 to 175, nobody cares. Activation time reduced from 1.0 to 0.5. Nobody fucking cares. I don't even want to talk about Witch Doctors anymore. Keeper of the Grove. Entangling Roots cast range on level 3 increased from 600 to 800. That's a little scary here. I could see Keeper on level 5 during the night with Ultra Vision just running around like with a fucking lasso, except he's throwing Entangling Roots around your units and making your life a living hell. So we'll have to see exactly what, I don't even know what's visually 6 to 800, like how big of a change this is, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of seeing Keeper getting a buff. I think he was already really, really good. But then again, there is a lot more changes. So let's read through the rest. Maybe they nerfed something else. Where we like where the Keeper of the Grove early game power is, we want to give this ability a little boost in late game since armies grow inside, especially in team games. Reinstating its all range should give the Keeper a little more ease of use in late game scenarios. Tranquility and vulnerability time removed. Hells yeah! That should not have been there in the first place anyway. Duration reduced from 15 to 12, healing increased from 40 to 48. Yeah, I don't mind that. It heals more though, so like if you have like mountain giants or in a fight, or like let's say your army is like really low in a fight, it's actually gonna bring it back up to in hit points very, very quickly. So yeah, I mean against human, it doesn't come into play as much. The fact that there is no more the invul on Tranquility is already, it's pretty nice. I'll take that as a win, you know. I don't think that should have been there anyway. Base damage in bear form, is that a typo? Are you kidding me? In bear from increased from 23 to 24. I blame Lado on this one, guys, and Lado exclusively. I mean, Night Elf was struggling a little bit, I guess, technically, compared to some of the other races, so maybe it's nice for them that they're getting that. We think bears could use a bit more power in the mid to late game in general, especially against undeads. Additionally, with humans versus Night Elf rifle pushes often incurring right when only a few bears are out, we felt that a slight bear buff would help defenders just that little bit more to keep them in the game. I mean, I don't know, like it seems like they're only focusing on this. They should think in general, you know, if somebody's massing bear, that's gonna make it a lot stronger for them if you have like 10 bears that each of them has 1 additional damage because they're going to hit many times throughout a single game, whether it's the creeps or the opponent. So that should also be taken in consideration. Jewel of Talent gold cost reduced from 145 to 135. So they're becoming cheaper again. Yeah, I guess they kind of fell out of the meta almost entirely after some of their recent changes. So they're kind of trying to bring that back maybe in certain situations. Undead, Cripplord, Impel can no longer be interrupted. Units knocked airborne can now take damage and be attacked. That's extremely scary, right? Like I'm already, you know, when I picture Undead, I picture a bunch of human units dying and screaming, you know, like whether it's the Rifle Scream, the Footman, Archmage, Mountain King, Paladin, Knight, Breaker. They all squeal a little bit, you know, when they die against Undead. And it's a very common sight. It's kind of like if you have like a very specific building and architecture near where you live, you see it every day. It's the same thing, you know, human against Undead, every day you see your units dying. So now I'm picturing that, but even fancier, you know, getting impelled and then you're still getting Nova while up in the air, you're getting attacked and all your units are exploding and it's just a disaster, you know, in a matchup that already was a disaster. So that makes me a little bit worried. Death Knights, animate dead mana cost reduced from 175 to 125. I think that's fine. We hear rather frequent feedback that this ability is one of the lower tier ones. Directly buffing it too much at this time seemed unwise as the Death Knight itself is quite core to undead strategies. And buffing it further will reinforce this. However, we do think its mana cost could be reduced to at least be more appropriate when it's perceived lower level. That's fine, they didn't change the spell at all, just made it a bit cheaper. Skeleton Warrior, base hit points decreased from 190 to 180. Hallelujah! Like I was asking for this for a very long time. Peasants are utter garbage and skeletons were broken for way too long. I don't know that 10 hit points is like the biggest number necessarily, but you have to remember that it's a start and at least like this is not gonna break undeads against elf and orc, you know, like if you decrease that then it helps humans a lot, but maybe undeads are gonna struggle a little bit more against orc and elf, which we don't necessarily want. We don't want, like when I ask for changes, I don't want my race to be the best. I just want to have an equal fighting chance. So they're going back to kind of the hit points that they used to have, I think, pretty much. Ritual Dagger, I mean, nobody cares, but total hit points range increased. So they try to make it a little bit better so that people actually heal with it. But guess what, Blizzard? We're still gonna see Death Knight first every single game that Undead is playing, so I guess no, Cripplord's getting some buffs technically, so maybe we'll see some more Cripplord first with Ritual Dagger come into play if you're losing hit points. I mean, with a new Beetle, you might not even have that happen. Beastmaster Summon Bear mana cost reduced from 125 to 100. It was pretty expensive, 125, but the bear is really damn good, to be honest. At the highest level of play, the Beastmaster has fallen off in usage over time. I mean, you might as well read that as we don't even see it. We want to give a boost to an ability that was underutilized even when Beastmasters roamed freely, in particular a level 2 Beastmaster starting at full mana that constantly uses their summon abilities when off cooldown. Will now be able to summon an additional Quill Beast when paired with Summon Quill Beast, or an additional bear when paired with Summon Hawk. I don't think it affects human too much. I guess maybe some elves might be more inclined to play Beastmaster sometimes here. I forgot to read the Beetle buff. Yeah, where were they? Oh, okay. Yeah, there. So Carrion Beetles mana cost increased from 30 to 45. So it's more expensive to get Beetles, but now spawns 2 Beetles at the time. From 1 maximum Beetles increased from 5 to 6. I wonder if you can go Beetle plus Impel. I guess that might be the plan sometimes. Those being who might cannot be matched. She's getting a tune-up in this patch. Okay, well, this is just random comments. Our buff to Carrion Beetles should greatly encourage some new experimentation with this rather rarely picked ability. Yeah, I mean, against human, we're probably not going to see it, but maybe undead against... I mean, against human, if you see Cripplord, usually it's going to be as a third hero for Impel. And Impel is really sick. Pitlord, a unit afflicted by Doom, now has its movement speed slowed by 50%, so that's only in case the ultimate comes into play. Added 2 new variables in map editor. Yeah, nothing special that I can see. Firelord, volcano eruption waves decrease from 8 to 5. Wave interval reduction reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Increased building damage factor from 2 to 3. So it's pretty good to siege. It's kind of like an earthquake of the Farseer, I guess. No longer affects friendly units / structures. That's very good because actually volcano scares me. Like when I would go for the volcano, I was always like, alright, I'm gonna mess up my own units really bad. I always thought that was one of those ultimates that was a little bit stupid in that. And I kind of like that, honestly. Like this, we're probably not gonna see Firelord come back like crazy as far as humans usage, but maybe some other races might be a little bit more encouraged to try and get it, because now the ultimates is actually pretty damn good compared to before, I think. Nagasi, which tornado random wender behavior removed. Thank fuck. I was so tired of my tornado going backwards in the wrong side, so that's that. Mana cost reduced from 200 to 125. So that's actually really sick, because this is something that we see a decent amount as well. Like when you... whoever's playing with the Naga, you know, it's, let's say human against Night Elf, a lot of players get the Naga second. So this could actually come into play often. Duration reduced from 40 seconds to 20 seconds. Close building damage per second increased from 50 to 100. Far building damage per second increased from 7 to 14. I kind of like that. It's a good sieging tool. It's kind of like Stampede, you know. You attack the opponent's base, you use it, and you hope to hit the units plus the buildings. Much like the other channel ultimates in this update, we believe a main issue with this ability was that getting value from the spell took too long compared to its opportunity cost. So the damage has been increased and duration decreased overall. The mana cost was also reduced, as the Sea Witch can be one of the more intensive mana users, which could greatly crowd out the opportunity to cast this ultimate spell. In general, players should always feel in charge of their units and that their units will follow orders to the letter. Actually, that never happens to me. They're in charge of me, not the other way around. The Random Wonder, while visually rather cool, goes against this principle and generally made the spell require too much micromanagement when compared to the payoff it provided. Well, I mean, yeah, you have to be selecting it all the time and controlling it manually, so yeah, it was pretty stupid before. It's not that it was hard to micro, it's that it was stupid. Blue Dragon Whelp, Blue Drake, and Blue Dragon. Added a passive icon that the unit has an attack that slows targets. So these are like the new summons that you can get instead of like Red Drake and stuff. So here, now we start talking about items. Potion of Greater Mana, mana restored reduced from 300 to 250. I think it should have been 200, but I'll take it. I think that's already a decent change. The problem is that this comboed with like a mana pendant or some mana items is the biggest problem of them all. So I hope that they address this in the future. Like dropping an item and then using a Greater Mana potion makes finding these items or even buying a mana potion too powerful in my opinion. Potion of Mana restored, so that's the one from the shop, reduced from 150 to 125. So that's the mana that you get back. And gold cost reduced from 200 to 150. So we'll probably see people buying some more of these, basically. Developer notes, we want to reign in the power of the Potion of Greater Mana and at the same time experiment a bit with the regular Potion of Mana. Currently seen as an emergency item, this change makes it slightly more gold efficient and align its gold price with that of Potion of Healing, making them more of a direct comparison. Red Drake Ache removed from default level 5 charge item drop list. Thank fuck. I played a 2-on-2 tournament a while back, the one that Terra was organizing. I was playing with Sonic. Nullwood against Cash and Hawk. We crept 2 of the big golem camps and we got 2 Red Drakes. They crept one of them and I think they got a Potion of Divinity or some bullshit. So yeah, get those fucking Red Drakes out of there. I never want to see them again. In fact, you should have removed them from the whole game. Blue Drake Egg is a new level 5 charged item that summons a Blue Drake for 180 seconds with 1 charge. I mean, it's the difference between them. I guess it's supposed to be listed here, right? It slows targets, but I assume that it's still dispellable, so it's kind of garbage, to be honest. I think maybe it should be undispellable, or like give it something better. Like if it still can get ensnared, webbed, is dispellable, it's still garbage, in my opinion. Because nobody usually can crave these camps that early when they will be good, and by the time you can get them, the opponent has something to counter them. Talisman of the Wild removed from default level 5 charged item drop list. Idol of the Wild, so that it was basically replaced, is a new level 5 charge item that summons a Firelord tracker for 180 seconds. So instead of the old Firbolg, you get a Firbolg with, I guess, Fairy Fire now instead? I mean, is this a joke? Like, I would love to hear about more... I don't think... Wait, let's read. Among the level 5 charge items, there are clearly 2 less desired items among them, the Talisman and the Red Drake Egg. In both cases, the summon units provide only a bit of damage and some tanking ability while still providing the opponent experience for their destruction. We want to keep the... One sec. I had to sneeze, and then my button is page down, so I scroll all the way down. It feels bad. Where was I? Here. We want to keep the coolness of having items that call forth creatures but change what was brought in. Well, then keep Rock Golem, but not these guys. With the Brood Drake providing a Frost Brace attack and the Firbolg Tracker bringing Fairy Fire, these 2 units now align with the Rock Golem and Fell Stalker by providing utility in addition to damage and tanking. The thing is, Rock Golem is immune magic. You can't slow him with Sorceress Slow, for example. You can still ensnare him, I guess, technically, but you can't Stormbolt him. So if you can do that to these other summons, it makes them significantly worse than the Rock Golem, which stunts and is immune magic. So you need to think about that. Maybe technically they'll have more damage, but be more controllable. But it's still easy to deal with them, supposedly, in a lot of these scenarios. Scroll of Restoration, hit points restored, reduced from 300 to 150. Thank God, like this item was so stupid and so broken. It's probably gonna be extremely good still at 150, you know? But it's closer to actually being balanced and fair than this garbage with like 300s. Developer notes, Wild Talisman and Red Drake may have been seen as the weakest of level 5 charge items. The Scroll of Restoration is undoubtedly the strongest. This is especially true for team games. Reducing the healing it provides down to be equal to a Scroll of Healing should help bringing it down more to the level of other items in this tier. Well, you do get mana back as well with this one, as opposed to a Scroll of Healing. Scroll of Animate Dead removed from default level 6 charge drop list, don't mind. Scepter of Mastery is a charge. So that's when they phrase it like this is basically what replaces it. Is a charge level 6 item that takes permanent control of an enemy unit with a range of 600 and 1 charge. Oh my god. So this is basically Charm. That's actually pretty crazy. I can't quite picture which creeps would drop that though. I guess we'll have to see. Maybe the corner on like 2v2 maps, the big reds. Scroll of Resurrection removed from default level 6 charge drop list. Scepter of Avarice, so the replacement, is a new charge level 6 item that instantly kills an enemy unit with a range of 601 charge. Gain gold. So this is Transmute. Gain gold equal to 75% of its cost. Cannot be used on heroes or creeps above level 5. Developers notes, as with level 5 charge items, there were 2 that seemed to be weaker than the other. For level 6 charge items, these scrolls only really worked when a battle was well underway with losses mounting. That means that their worth was hard to gauge, while the summon items have far more flexibility, keeping with the theme of charge items on this tier being ultimate abilities. We decided to bring in an analog for Transmute and Charm, which should be more directly comparable to bringing in as summon units by instantly denying one of your opponent's units. Inferno Stone drop level increase from level 6 charge to level 7 artifact. That sounds about right, Inferno is pretty powerful. Engrave Scale is a new charge level 6 item, so the replacement, that summons a blue dragon spawn overseer for 180 seconds with 1 charge. I kind of want to see these creeps because I can't really picture too well right now what they're like. So, often cited as one of the most powerful items in the game, and often the focal reason of level 6 charge items being too imbalanced for 1v1 is the Inferno Stone. We want to try moving it up a tier while replacing it with a new summon item to see if we can encourage higher usage of this category of items in map making while balancing our current team and free-for-all maps that utilize it. So it doesn't really concern solo here. The Blue Dragon Spawn Overseer acts as a kind of defensive parallel to the Firbolg Ursa Warrior by providing a devotion aura, and having the passive evasion ability built. Okay, this guy sounds broken as hell. Breath of Frost also gives it a good area of effect options similar to other summons in this tier. Known ladder, but perhaps to come. Transportation ship. If you guys have missed it, I've been casting the TOT and organizing it, the TOT tag team number 2, and we have one map with boats in there called Vile Reef, and I immediately called out to how broken I thought they were. So perhaps in the future we could be seeing those join. I don't know, 2-on-2 FFA map pool, 3v3, 4v4, maybe even solo. Who knows? No longer unloads instantly. Now has a 0.5 second delay, same as Depthlands. Perfect. Level reduced from 2 to 1. Hit points reduced from 1500 to 900. Perfect. Armor type change from heavy to light. Perfect. Maximum charges at the shipyard reduced from 3 to 2. I like this. Initial stock delay increased from 0 to 120. So yeah, it's gonna take a while before it comes back. 2 minutes. Stock replenish interval decreased from 110 to 30. Same as Zeppelins. So yeah, it reloads pretty quickly, basically. Zeppelins, you know, you buy one, 30 seconds, you can get another one. It's very quickly. Repair time increased to 30 from 25, same as Zeppelin. So they made it like a Zeppelin, basically, except it's a boat and it goes in water. I like that, you know. While it is not used in any current ladder maps, we want to update this unit for nautically inclined map makers. In a number of community tournaments, there have been some promising usage of ships as a map feature, but like you use some tuning. That's my tournament they're talking about here, boys. The current stats for the transportation ship are geared towards usage in single player modes, which makes it a bit to overturn as an option for competitive multiplayer. The primary change here, however, is that units will unload one at a time rather than all at once, which gave the ship users too much advantage in pulling off aggressive maneuvers, especially for landing near an opponent's base with siege damage units. Honestly, I'm excited to maybe see some boats join Warcraft 3. Why the hell not, you know? It could be fun. If it's done right, and it looks like it's being done right, I think it could be fun. Mercenary Camp updates. Another area we want to address within this balance patch is opening up a bit more map design options for our map making community. Mercenary Camps provide a way to both adjust how matchups play out as well as provide extra map variety. However, only the Lord Aaron's Summer Camp has seen widespread use in the competitive scene. We have looked at all the mercenary camps and adjust their units offering to bring them more in line with the Lord Aaron's Summer Mercenary Camp, while also offering differing options of units, stabilities provided. Additionally, many units had their cost and availability time adjusted. We are trying out having 2 availability times to unify the mercenary camps a bit by reducing the amount of numbers players have to memorize. Short 120 seconds, medium 220 seconds, and long 440 seconds. It's likely that further adjustments to a unit's offering or the unit's cost availability will be needed. So we are interested in player and mapmaker thoughts on these changes. So yeah, the Lord Aaron Summer is basically the Forest Troll Shadow Priest, the Troll Berserker, the Ogre Magi, and the Mud Golem. But they changed a bunch of the other one, which I have no idea about, because I'm gonna guess that these are on most like 2-on-2, 3v3 FFA, which I don't really play. So I can't really comment much, honestly, on these. I didn't even know there was this many different mercenary or mercenary camps, to be fair, so yeah, I don't really have much to say on that. Map pool rotation, removed Dalaran, added Brightwater Oasis. I kind of like that they're doing some stuff with the maps, but to be honest, the ladder is not really usable currently. I mean, they talked a little bit about how they're going to work on the ladder. Right now everybody's playing on pad ladder, so this doesn't really concern us that are trying to play like competitive games on pad ladder. So yeah, 2v2 though. Remove Phantom Grove, added Circle of Fallen Heroes. Kind of same thing, to be honest. I play on pad ladder mostly, so this is not really concerned. But if you guys are playing on BNets, you can take note of these maps being changed, swapped in and swapped out. Map updates, Terrastan ladder version, craters added to the map. I guess it's kind of weird that there was a map with no craters, to be honest. But yeah, as a human player, I'm like, alright, like please, like we don't need undeads to start doing even better now on this map. Twisted Meadows, Green Knoll Camp near player start location now has an additional level 1 Knoll, and the Knoll Brutes drops a level 1 power-up item. So that's the small green camp basically near your base. There's one more creep. And it gives a level 1 power up. That's a tome, I guess, right? We want to make taking the null camp feel a little bit more rewarding. I mean, yeah, it's not rewarding at all right now. It gives nothing. It also hits a breakpoint where a single hero can reach level 3 by creeping the null camp and 2 yellow camp outside the front of each starting location. Previously, 2 start location could do this, but other 2 would result in a hero just slightly short of level 3. That's not bad, to be honest, especially for human. Sometimes it's hard for us to creep the labs or whatever, but I don't even really play Twisted Meadows, to be honest, because it's still a really tough map and there's a lot of item RNG. Echo Isle, honestly, the only thing that I wanted to see listed here is that this map is gone and that we finally get a new, better map, but I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit more for that. But I do wish that this map will leave the map pool eventually, because even though it's not the worst map for human, I still think it's like been too long in the map pool, it's super boring and it's been overplayed and overseen, so. But yeah, they added extra trees and doodads behind the southwest expansion to address instances of player units getting stuck in a pathable location. After using a scroll town portal, fill in various pathing holes around the outer edges of the map. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I got stuck when I tried to go to the turtle all the way down there, but as far as steeping and then being stuck, it didn't really happen to me too much. Sanctuary LV, I don't know, and I don't know this. User interface team color health bars are no longer on by default for new users. I like that because imagine you're a new War 3 player and then you see the team color health bars. I don't think it looks good. I don't think it's good. I don't even think anybody should do it. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Ante. Turn it off. So that's it for my thoughts on the patch. I would say that it's good that there's something going, but there's a lot of stuff missing that they didn't address, in my opinion. On top of that list is the fact that speed scroll plus fortified on tier 2 for orc is too powerful. I definitely want them to do something about speed scroll eventually. 50 gold, like change something, make it more expensive, do a longer cooldown. But orcs, they have a lot of CC. They got Stomp in particular. They got a unit like Raider that's great at hit and running, and then they got scrolls plus fortified on tier 2. It's just so easy to lame with this race, so I hope to see something done about that. I still think that Dreadlord is too good, in particular because of Carrion Swarm being broken and reaching too far. I think that Blade Master is also too strong still. I think reverting back the critical damage was a mistake, and giving him like a 1 second cooldown on the Windwalk after coming out of Windwalk is like totally useless. I've never seen a game where like a Blade Master exited Windwalk and it was like, okay, we're just gonna kill him now. No, that just never happens. 1 second is nothing, as we all know. So I would say like these things are like very high on my list of things that I would like to see changed. I would also like to see items giving more gold so that when you find rings, whatever, even though they've made rings better, I would still prefer having gold. Because if you have to compare a ring with a claw, the ring is always so much worse pretty much. So let's say if the starting ring in the start of the game would sell for more than it does now, you can actually sell it. And you're happy that, like, you don't even care that you found a ring because you didn't find damage, but now you sold it and you actually got some decent gold for it. And same thing about the late game items, you know, like the big ring that you can find, like it's a joke that shouldn't even be in there, like nobody finds that and is happy. If you find an aura that you already have, the fact that you are only gonna sell it for 200 is also very bad. You should be selling it for like 300 or 400 in my opinion. That's also something that I would like to see. And I think that's about it. It's like all I can think of for now, almost pretty much. I think having some idea on how to not let peasants be so exposed and bad might be good. Maybe a buff for the Arcane Tower, because now everybody like walks into the human base and then violates it, you know, kills like a ton of peasants, whether it's a warden with Fan of Knives, an undead with Rain of Fire and destroyers that melts towers, or an orc. Sometimes they just send one hero, sometimes they drop one grunt and one shaman with a zeppelin in your peasant line. It's like, alright, let's go to work. It's gonna be a slaughter. And one Arcane Tower can't do anything about that. So I don't know if peasants, you know, need to be changed a little bit, but they're way too weak, they die way too quick, and I don't like them. But yeah, fortified, speed scroll, stomp maybe add just a little bit more, Blade Master, Carrion Swarm, and Peasants probably my top picks for something that I would like to see changed. That's it for now, guys. Let me know what you think about these changes and what you think about my feedback on them, and yeah, leave a comment on the YouTube. And make sure to like the video. Thank you, guys.